person you think is holding your business together can sometimes be the one pulling it apart. Every week, if you keep a chef with a temper or an arrogant head barista who treats juniors like they're in the way, your best team members move a little closer to handing in their notice. Most owners hold onto a toxic rock star for a reason: the fear of the roster. Now, you tell yourself, if I fire them, I'm back on the floor 6 days a week covering their section. And you know what? That's a fair thing to worry about. But today I'm not going to tell you to sack them. Today I'm going to show you the exact conversation framework we use at Foodie Coaches to sort it out without triggering some massive blow up, without them slamming their apron down mid-service and storming out. When we sit on the outside of hospitality businesses looking at the numbers, here's what actually happens when bad behavior gets left alone. First, your team retention tanks. Your quiet, steady, high integrity staff, they don't argue with you. They just leave. And then you're consistently hiring, retraining, and burning cash on recruitment fees just to replace the good people you never wanted to lose in the first place. Second, your daily stress starts skyrocketing and days off stop being days off. You know the feeling of tippy-toeing around that conversation. You're checking your phone, you're dreading the text message from the floor on what happens next, and you walk in guessing what mood the kitchen is in before you even get in the building. And then third, your guest experience quietly suffers. The guests can't see what's happening inside the business, but they can feel the tense atmosphere and energy the second they walk through the door. And you know it. You've been in businesses that are like it before, and your business slowly becomes that. But what we need to understand is none of this is happening because you don't care about your standards. It's happening because no one ever gave you the calm, low conflict way to force the standards that you expect inside the business. So there's a restaurateur in New York called Danny Meyer, and you've probably heard of him. He built Union Square Hospitality, created Shake Shack, and he hires on a split he likes to call 51-49. Now, technical skill is 49, and how that person behaves around everyone else is 51, the bigger half. So when you hang on to someone because they're absolutely brilliant at their job, you're keeping them for the smaller half of their job, and you're letting them fail at the bigger half every single shift. Now, to help operators fix this, we use a framework called the culture bullseye, and it's 3 rings. First ring is your core, your standards. The middle circle is the baseline standard that you set on day one, being the owner of your restaurant, bar, cafe, and how people speak to each other, how work gets done, how guests are greeted inside of your business. Now, the standard doesn't break the day someone crosses it, it breaks the day you stop holding people accountable. Now, ring 2 is the operational breakdown. This is where your team and your daily operations live. It's where bad behavior starts showing up. This could be the chef who yells when he gets busy, or the bar attendant who's amazing with guests, but treats everyone else like shit. Now, when you let it sit here, what you're doing is you're teaching everyone else that your standards are just negotiable. And that's when we get to ring 3. Now, this outside ring is going to show up in the guest experience. The guest experience shows up, it might be some bad Google reviews every now and again. And what we start seeing is a slow decline in turnover. Now, it won't happen quickly, it'll be slowly. The guests start feeling the bad vibe and they don't know why. And you've been there, you've walked into a business where this feels real weird and you don't know. And by the time that toxic behavior hits ring 3, you have so much more to fix because it's been building inside this business for months. Now, our whole job as an owner is catching it in ring 2 before it gets to ring 3. And here is the exact 4-step framework and script we give to our members inside of Foodie Coaches to run these conversations safely. So step 1, we want to book it properly. We don't want to have the conversation during service. We don't want to have the conversation at the end of the shift after our team have already had a huge day. So if you run a cafe, maybe like a quiet time in the morning. If you run a dinner venue, maybe just bring them in 15 minutes before their shift. But we want to book it. We don't want to catch them off guard. So we want to make sure it's on the clock. We want to make sure it's sitting down, not standing in the doorway, not while they're sitting halfway doing prep. And then we want to tell them what it's about before we book it. We don't say we need to talk. We want to say, hey, I want 15 minutes at the start of your shift on Friday or on Thursday, and I just want to talk to you about what happened on Saturday night. That's it. Now they know it's a conversation, not an ambush. Step 2, we want to frame the observation and not make it personal. And we do this by stating the behavior. So when you sit down, we want to state the behavior. I want to talk to you about Friday. I saw you raise your voice at the junior twice in front of guests. Now, this isn't how we run our section here. What you're doing is you're describing what happened, not who they are. That's going to be the difference between a conversation and starting a fight, which leads on to step 3, which is holding the line. setting the expectations. They're going to give you an excuse. I was slammed, I was busy, the junior's a pain in the ass, whatever it is. I don't want you to argue with it. I want you to agree with it. You're like, you know what? We were busy. You know what? That junior does need more training. You know what? You're 100% right. But then what I want you to do is hold the standard. Keep the line. And you know what? Our standards don't change whether or not we're busy or quiet. And that's exactly what matters most. Whatever temperature they go, what I want you to do is I don't want you to match their energy, because if you do, you're having an argument. If you stay level, you're having a conversation. And that's how you're going to hold your power. Now, step 4, we want to put the ball back in their court. Don't lecture them. Hand the fix back to them. I need you to bring me a plan on how you're going to handle this in future, because during a busy service, we can't be taking it out on our junior team. So tell me, what does that look like from your side? Put it back on them. Then stop talking. Be silent. It's going to feel weird, but you must let them answer. That is where you're going to maintain your power. So you don't have to know how this is going to end before it starts, and you're not in a position to dictate that. But there's only 3 ways this can go. Now, number 1, they're going to take it on. Now, most people who are hard to work with, they actually don't know they're difficult, because no one has ever pointed it out to them plainly, but you have. So if you have pointed it out to them plainly, it gives them the opportunity to fix it. It's probably going to surprise you. Now, number 2, they pick themselves out. They realize the standards in your business isn't the standards that they want to provide. They realize the standards in your business aren't the standards that they want to meet, and that's okay. They move on. And this isn't failure on your part. This is maintaining your standards to keep everyone in their jobs. And number 3, they resist. They won't move on. It becomes a formal process, and you got to document performance management, set their KPIs, and get some proper advice. And now this isn't your job to pick what outcome you get. It's your job to make sure the standards are clear enough that one of these 3 things actually happen. Now, the venue that we work with recently in Foodies, the person running the floor made everything feel toxic for over a year. Nobody wanted to work with them while they were around. It just was like everything was tough. And eventually the owner ran this exact same framework. What happened was the manager realized that they didn't want to meet the standard, and they moved on, and it happened really quickly. But what happened next was the most interesting thing. That member came back to us and let us know the mood, the energy in the whole business overnight changed. The second in command stepped up. They started running the floor brilliantly. The rest of the team started bringing their own creative ideas again, and something that they've all stopped doing months ago. Their average customer spend went up. Their labor went down because people were showing up more engaged and excited to be there. Sure, did they have a gap? Yes. What you need to understand is your stomach turns at the thought of having that conversation. It's normal. You were trained to be a chef, run the floor, or create this amazing business that you currently have. But no one ever trained you how to handle the difficult human management conversations. And that's the power of having clear operational frameworks. So when you stop running these conversations on vibes and feelings and frustrations, and you start using clear, repeatable frameworks and scripts, all of a sudden the weight comes off you. You stop dreading the shift. You keep your best people, and your bar, cafe, restaurant also becomes so much easier to run. So if you're dealing with a toxic team member inside of your business right now, and you want an expert set of eyes, click the link below and book in a meeting with one of my team. We're gonna look at your structure, we're gonna look at your roster, and we're gonna give you absolute clarity on what you need to do next inside your business. So let's fix your standard this week, and I'll see you on the next video.